Hey, what's up, guys? It's your boy Rob Magani back with some more Choices That Matter in the Summer Now. And when we last left off, we started getting attacked by the Russian army, and I believe the company is there as well. And there's like some Russian citizens that are mad with us for some reason. um, um, what's it called? Everyone that we've met along the way is here, and some people that we haven't met, but other people have, like Etienne's mother is here. Um, And the awkward thing is that one of Sharon's exes is here as well. And now the thing is that we have the astronauts, they have to recalculate the moon's distance, so they need more fuel, and the rocket also needs to be finished. So yeah, um, let's continue. Well, right now, there's not much anyone can do until we figure out what exactly needs to be done, he said. But we'll need scientists later to aid us if we want to launch before we all die. Just letting you know. He hurried away again, keeping his head down. We'll have to keep that in mind if we send out any personnel, teacher. They aren't personnel, Modi. They're our friends, I muttered, turning just in time to see Etienne's grim face as he shot another volley out an under window. I looked for Sharon, saw her climbing with a rifle to join Crank in his bird's nest. I took a deep breath again, trying to work past my own panic. This was something that none of us should ever have to deal with, but here we were. Earth's last defense. Oh, was that another bomb going off, or was that tank? The ground shuddered as another of Crank's rockets flew forth. Ah! Crank, a little warning next time, Delores shouted up to him, shaking her head. I've only got one left, though, he complained, picking up a sniper rifle instead. Teacher, the Russians have realized I was using their own communication systems. They've scrambled the signal. Oh, fuck. I can attempt to reinsert myself, but I will have to momentarily go offline. Too much an advantage. Yes, teacher. Going offline now. Modi's little face winked out, and I winced. I hope I made the right decision. As I turned back to join the fray, a scream rang out, followed by Etienne's roar of anger. Oh no. He jumped down from the window he was using for cover, obviously not injured himself, and rushed out the large barn doors to the barricades outside. I rushed outside and shouted to Sharon to cover us. Etienne had dropped next to a felled form, and I pushed myself to run faster, ignoring the bullets around me. Pierre, Etienne called, shaking the Canadian in fear. I am hero, yes? He asked, his accent even thicker than I heard it before. Yes, Pierre, you're a hero, Etienne choked, looking up at me. I nodded, leaning down to grab Pierre's arm. He was shot, bleeding from a wound in his side. One look at him, and I knew it was bad. Etienne knew it too. We dragged him inside, sitting him in the sheltered area where most of the wounded already were. Some were helping bind others' wounds, and some were refilling clips of bullets for the fighters. No, I can still help. I just need a moment. Pierre tried to fight Etienne off and saw tears in my friend's eyes. Modi, how do I didn't finish my sentence, swearing. Modi wasn't around to help. Ah, shit. Pierre's probably gonna die because of that choice. I should get back to my position, back to fighting. Etienne sobbed, holding his friend's hand. We don't have time. You should stay with him, Edo, I said softly. No, I good, Pierre said weakly. You go. Pierre knew that he was dying, and there was nothing we could do to save him. We have time for this. Stay by his side, Etienne. Stay by his side, please. Just go ahead. Etienne steadied himself and then nodded, settling down next to Pierre. I hesitated, waiting for Etienne in case I could help in some way. The more I waited, the more I came to terms that there was nothing we could do would help Pierre. The bullet was too deep in his abdomen. Ugh. I leaned down and Pierre suddenly grasped my wrist, showing surprising strength. You care for my Etienne, he said, holding my gaze. You look after him. He needs someone. I will, I comforted him, smiling softly. Pierre leaned back and closed his eyes, nodding slowly before stilling. He was gone. Damn. Etienne's eyes glassed over and he bowed his head, still holding Pierre's hand. I touched his shoulder gently and comforted and moved away. God. Etienne drew a quick breath and nodded, standing and resuming his position at a window. I nodded to Pierre, who drunkenly nodded back, and I moved off, meeting Delores near one of the supply tables. How's your friend doing? She asked, passing me new batteries for my radio. Pierre or Etienne? I asked dryly before shaking my head. I don't think Pierre is going to make it, but I can't say that to Etienne. He's trying to concentrate on the matter at hand. We'll see more death before the end on both sides, Delores muttered, charging her own batteries. Those people out there, we have to think of them as the enemy, but they have families too. I stared at her blankly. Why would you tell me that? She shrugged. I didn't say anything, but your friend Pierre looks like he just passed. I turned around and saw Pierre slumped and lifeless. Etienne was still firing, and I hoped he wouldn't notice. Not yet. I'm back, teacher. I could not get back into their communications. They're using a mutating algorithm that changes every 5 minutes. It's impossible to keep connected. Did I miss anything? I closed my eyes, disappointed, and didn't respond to Modi. I wanted to stop for a moment and breathe, but I saw there was a bag packed and ready to be carried up to Crank's nest of ammo. I should do my bit. Heft the bag up to the next. Rolling my eyes and giving in to my own guilt, I picked up the bag and hustled to the ladder. I hitched it on my back and started climbing. Halfway up, I heard Crank's excited yell, "Last rocket!" Oh my god, I just witnessed Pierre die. Why am I laughing? Man, but he's so excited. He like, "Last rocket!" Yee! My eyes widened as the structure of the launch building shook and I lost my grip on the ladder. Thankfully, I only fell a few feet on my behind, yet I still groaned and remained collapsed on the ground until the ringing in my ear had stopped. Teacher, it seems that the enemy has stopped firing. What? I moved to peek out a window and saw that Modi was correct. Why? I suspect that they are worried that Mr. Crank has more rockets. Teacher, we have an opportunity to set traps for an oncoming soldier, particularly with Mr. Crank in position. You're absolutely right, Modi. Who do you think should do that? There are several inventive individuals with us, teacher. I recommend a small group to continue protecting the buildings and traps, and a larger group to set ambushes on the coming enemy's likely approach. That sounds good, Modi. Do you have specific people in mind? Yes, teacher. Mickey is a geologist by trade, and some of the rock formations around the compound have defensive possibilities. I recommend she and her staff are put in charge of defending our position. It appears that would be all the traps we are able to set, teacher. Hopefully the soldiers do not enter the building. Okay, Modi, thank you. I coordinated with the required teams and let Delores watch over them from above, where she sat next to Crank. Crank himself kept busy with his sniper rifle, taking out anyone who stuck their necks out too far. It was quiet for a few hours, and while I was checking on the wounded, I actually managed to get a few hours sleep. I was shaken out of my slumber by Wong, who leaned closer over me. They're advancing again. Thought you might like to know. Okay, I'm awake. I looked around and saw Etienne and Sharon by the large doors, talking, and Delores sit still up next to Crank in his vantage point. Wong sat back and redressed his own wound. You need a hand? I asked, moving forward. He waved me off. I'm alright. I can't stand or be of any use whatsoever, but I'm going to be okay. He gave a fantastic, sarcastic thumbs up, and I laughed despite myself. Wong, you're amazing, I smiled. You've made it through so much. We can't lose you now. Yeah, I'm always the last standing, he sighed. Just hopefully not this time. I hear that, I agreed. Stay healthy, Wong. I'll check in with you later. I left him and joined Sharon and Etienne by the door. Etienne had a haggard look about him, and I knew Pierre's death was weighing on him. He died being a hero, I comforted Etienne. It seemed like that's what he would have wanted. Etienne nodded but didn't respond. Teacher, we should prepare ourselves. From the snippets of radio I can pick up, they are ready to make an attack. I've thought of an idea, Sharon said, nodding to Moody, but I'm not sure you're gonna like it. When have I ever liked your ideas? I moaned. What is it this time? An aerial attack, Etienne finished for her. For once, I agree with the crazy Australian. Whoa, an attack? What? How? Was all I asked. Delores' jet, Sharon shrugged. Seriously? But it's not anywhere near the building. I say, have you asked Delores? Etienne and Sharon looked at each other. We were kind of hoping that you would do that, Etienne admitted. She doesn't seem to like us. What? Really? I looked up to Delores. She seems to treat you the way she treats everyone else. Yeah, Sharon nodded. That's what we mean. I rolled my eyes and nodded. Let me talk to her, see what she says. I headed to the ladder and climbed up, greeting Crank and Delores. Crank didn't move a muscle, but Delores looked at me. Why are you here and not organizing people? She asked shrewdly. We were thinking about an aerial attack with the jet, I said, my voice going up at the end, as if it were a question. Delores shrugged. No. No? Just like that? Satin siphoned the fuel from the jet to make explosive and Chase stripped electronic components from it to help with the shuttle, she continued. The jet is dead, so to speak. Well, that solves that one. Sure you don't have any rockets left, Crank? I half joked. Well, I wouldn't be using them yet if I did, he said, still not looking at me. But no, I don't have another one. Excellent, I grunted. Let's start the party. Delores followed me back down to the ladder and we put people in position, ready. Teacher, I've picked up something. There seems to be a team of 3 people approaching from behind the launch building. Etienne, Sharon, come to me and deal with this. The 3 of us crept through the back of the building and down a chute that we discovered earlier. It got us out of the back of the building without having to open the large doors in the back. We crept forward until I could hear footsteps, and I held out my hand to stop my friends. Sharon and Etienne crouched low and waited while I tried to get a look at our new arrivals. They looked wrecked, but they were also dressed in a way I recognized. I waved Sharon and Etienne forward and stepped into the 3 astronauts' line of sight. As soon as they saw me, they hurried towards where they were. Fellas, I greeted them, you seem to be Russian cosmonauts. Indeed, you think we wouldn't notice our beast warming up? Muttered the first one. I'm Scoot. This is Bean and Noodle. I stared at them for a moment. Americans give us nicknames because our language is too complicated for your tongues. We hear you're taking our baby to space. We've got a team, I hedged. Yes, it's us now. I don't care who you have. This is our shuttle and no one knows it like we do. Noodle argued. Your Americans could be our ground team. Fair, Sharon muttered. But how on earth did you get past the horde out front? When one of the newbies got drunk, we dumped them in the forest, Bean said dryly. We know the area around our home. Oh. Sounds like we can use you. Come on in. Okay. The 6 of us made our way quickly back to the inside of the launch building and we sent our new friends to our team to work themselves out. I picked up my radio and let Delores know about the changes and who had joined the team. Excellent, she crackled back over the line. I love changes to the plan. Hey, more people makes me happy, I guess, I replied, thinking about the body count. How do things look up there? Strangely, they seem to be backing off, she said over the scattering of gunfire that juxtaposed her words. They're trying to regroup and, yeah, they're retreating. So the enemy is advancing thing has ended now? Sharon raised an eyebrow at me, waiting for orders. Keep steady for now. It could be a bluff. Yeah, it could be a bluff. It wasn't. After an hour, we put together a roster of people to watch, and I returned to check on Wong and the wounded. While I was sitting with them, Sharon wandered over and sat close to me. You know, I like the zombie look on you, but aren't you going to sleep? Sharon asked me. I'll watch over you, teacher. Wake me the second there's trouble, bruh. They stared at me, judgmental expressions on their faces. Matron from across three people tossed me a pillow which smacked me in the face almost comically. Shaking my head with a smile, I laid back. I rested my eyes just for a moment. Teacher, wake up. What? I said, realizing at once that the light seeping in was the light of a new day. What's going on? The Russian army has added a mercenary band to its ranks. Uh-oh. Who? How? I said. The company has upgraded its Russian members into a standing army, and they're coming for us right now. Cooperating with the Russians? I asked, impressed despite myself. Yes, teacher. What do we do now? Is the rocket finished? I asked. Does it have its new calculations? Is it correctly fueled? No, teacher. None of those tasks are complete. Has Delores requested anything? Where is she? She's consulting with Mr. Crank, who has come down from his vantage point for water. She has not asked for anything. Oh god, get Crank back up on there. Alright, first things first, we need to get over there and talk to her. Get her opinion. I reached Delores and nodded to Crank, who was polishing one of his large guns. What do you think? I asked Delores, taking the mug of coffee she passed me. I grinned briefly when I thought of what Sharon would think of this quality of coffee. The company's been working up to this, is my guess. She said, they were hoping we'd roll over and die quickly, but there is their plan B. We need to wake everyone up and suit up, I muttered. If we're caught with our pants down, we'll never even get the rocket off the ground. I'm 59% sure we can make it, teacher. We just need to hold them off a little longer. Okay. It's more than half, so that makes me feel a little better. Frank raised an eyebrow, Modi placing shooting glasses on top of his head, ready. At least it's over half. That's gotta count for something, right? He scoffed, a half smile on his lips. There was movement in the corner of my eye, and I turned in time to see a dark-suited woman step inside the door. Who? She raised the gun and fired directly at Delores. Run at the assailant, bruh. Pulling my head low into a footballer's pose and hoped for the best, I ran forward, ramming the attacker. Having been solely concentrating on Delores, they didn't notice until I was right on top of them, and by then it was too late to shoot me. I hit them hard, dropping them to the floor, their head connected with the cement ground with a mighty thunk. Her eyes rolled into the back of her head and she went limp, unconscious. I looked back to Delores, fearing what I might see. No, don't! Delores was bending low over Crank, pressing her hands to his chest. No! Crank got hit! No! He's like our MVP! Yo, Crank is our MVP! Damn, man! God dang it! Blood seeping out from between them and my heart froze. I scrambled up and ran to them, dropping to my knees beside him. Delores looked up at me, wide-eyed and glassy. I'd never seen her this close to tears before. He took the bullet, she confessed. I saw her raise her gun and I knew what was about to happen, but I couldn't move. Crank Gilbert could. He took the bullet for me. No, Crank. I placed a hand on his shoulder in comfort, but said nothing. What could I say? Mr. Crank is dead. Dang, he was our MVP! Dang! Bro, our most valuable player right now is dead. Oh, Jesus Christ. Kill that fucking woman in the suit. Kill her. Mr. Crank is dead. Oh, God. We know, Modi. We don't have time to grieve, teacher. We have to keep moving. Fuck! Stay a moment, I said to Dolores instead. Then we'll hit them back for what they've done. I stood and walked away, joining Sharon and Etienne, who were huddled together with grim faces. Are you alright? I didn't know how to answer them. No, I'm not. Let's just keep moving. No, I'm not. Let's just keep moving. They nodded, not commenting on my demeanor. Who was that? Etienne muttered, looking over my shoulders. And how did they get past everyone else? My guess is that was an operative someone sent by the company to kill Delores, I said in a lowered voice. No reason for anyone else to panic. Specially trained to plug up leaks, if you will. Kill her. Leaks, Sharon muttered, frowning because Delores left the company? And knows too much, I finished for her. If they're here, then others will be too. We have to take action against the elite forces coming in. Take action? How? Delores asked. I frowned. I hadn't figured out that part yet. Teacher, we may want to adjust how many soldiers we have on the front line. Also, Mr. Vadik may be able to siphon more funds from the company's accounts if he's not busy and force them to redistribute their forces. I'm also picking up some advanced tech on the opposition side. Jamming their signals would be a tremendous help. So we need 2 hackers and some extra muscle. Who do we have left? Not Vadik. He's helping input new codes, I murmured, looking around at a ragtag group. The sooner the rocket launched, the better. Unfortunately, there is no one who can perform these tasks currently, teacher. No one but me. However, I can only do one. Oh god. Either get the company to retreat or jam their signals to avoid more deaths. Oh god. But then, see, like, if I were to drain their money, right? If I were to do that, then we would get hit by the high tech. But then they would run out of money, so then they would have to retreat. But if we jam the signal, we don't get hit by the high tech, but we still got to deal with the people. Jam the signal. Jam the signal. Yes, teacher, I'll begin that right now. Sharon and Etienne nodded, covering each other as they made their way towards the main group and explained what was going on. I watched them go for a moment before shaking myself out of the feeling that I wouldn't see them again. Delores touched my shoulder and brought me back to earth. What about the extra fighters? My head is spinning, I admitted, rubbing my head. I can't even think. Modi, can you do a sound off of who we can move? Yes, teacher. There's the Peruvian police, teacher. The ones we met while you were jailed in Peru. They have been eager to help. Sharon's ex-boyfriend Damien would make an excellent leader, having been a police officer. He could develop strategies on how to utilize our forces best. I took a moment to think, trying to come up with the best plan. Delores raised an eyebrow and waited for my answer. I guess it was up to me. Oh god, either send Damien to get them all in line, or get the Peruvians to go in. Send Damien. Send Damien. Dude knows how to handle this kind of stuff. You know what? I'm gonna end this video early. So I'll see you guys in the next one, and bye.